Tom Cruise returns in Top Gun Maverick. What a show this was. Everything from the soundtrack to the action. It's a great show. Right out of the bat, I'm going to recommend you go see it if you haven't. I'll be watching this when it comes out on streaming for sure. I might even go to the theater and see it a second time. I remember when the first trailer came out several years ago thinking, okay, Tom Cruise is in it, but still, I don't know if that's going to hold up over all these years for a sequel. I don't know if that makes sense now. I'm not sure why they didn't do that earlier when he was younger. Now, if you've seen this movie or you've been watching anything on TikTok, you know he looks a lot younger than he is. Not sure exactly how he's pulled that off, but congratulations, Tom. With so many years between the original and the sequel, one of the things I was really skeptical about was how in the world is Jerry Bruckheimer going to bridge that gap and have an interesting new story without it seeming like we're just watching the original Top Gun again. But keeping the nostalgia there, especially for Gen X, people of my age, there's certain things we want to see in this movie. You know, the first, I'd say 2 or 3 minutes of this movie, it's hard to tell if you're watching Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick, but it still works. We want the song, we want Danger Zone in there, we want those planes taken off of that aircraft carrier. They delivered on that 100%. You know, Goose's son is in this movie. The whole story is about his relationship with Tom Cruise for the most part. There are some new recruits. They don't spend as much time on their stories and their chemistry as they did in the original Top Gun. There's definitely not as many quotable lines in Top Gun Maverick. This soundtrack is great. Hans Zimmer is composing part of the music. That's always a good choice. And overall, I don't really have anything to complain about with this movie. If I'm being super critical, the romance part was a little bit unnecessary. Take what they said on Siskel and Ebert for the original and just apply that to this movie as well. It's really unnecessary. They didn't play Take My Breath Away, or at least I didn't hear it. That would have been a nice boost for the romance part of this. But at the same time, you know, there were certain scenes in the original that, as a kid growing up in the 80s, a little uncomfortable with the parents in the room. I think my parents even fast forwarded through those scenes. You know the ones I mean. There was also a lot of profanity in the first one. I remember that. And not so much in this one. You'll hear some, but not near the language that you had in the first one. So that's the way I like it. So I'm glad that they cut a lot of that out. I don't know if that has something to do with Tom Cruise and Scientology or not. We won't get into that in this video. Although the romance chemistry might not have been there, the chemistry between Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer as Iceman coming back into the middle of this movie was something spectacular. And if you know what's going on with Val Kilmer in the real world, it almost brings you to tears when Tom Cruise walks in the room and sees him. It is a magical moment. If you haven't seen that, you should go see the movie just for that. The other part that I really loved about this movie is there was a clear mission. A lot of movies don't have that, but it was so clear. I knew in my own mind some of the tactics they were going to have to do to make this mission a success. I felt like I was there. And you've heard all about how they filmed these in the cockpits. They had the characters holding their own cameras and all the G-forces and all this. And I agree, that definitely helps. But for me, the real magic is the way the story is told. The mission is so clear that you know exactly what it is they've got to do. You know what the stakes are, and you feel those stakes. It feels like you're on this mission with them, and it feels like there's something on the line if they don't get it done. And that's really what makes it fun. It takes you to that escapism part that you come to a movie for. It delivered. Expectation-wise, I went to see this about the second or third day after it came out. Heard from a lot of people how great it was. My expectation was a 10 out of 10. Didn't quite hit that because of the romance. Had they thrown in Take My Breath Away, a couple of little things there, that probably would have pushed it to a 10 for me. I just didn't think that part was necessary. But that doesn't take anything away from the rest of the show. It was really enjoyable. I loved it. It was tons of fun. If you want to see more videos of me reviewing movies, Be sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to continue to do the pop-up video. Let me know what you think about that trivia in the comments. Have a great day.